Good evening. I'm Mary Ray Bragg, a member of the Dubuque League of Women Voters and past president of the League of Women Voters of Iowa. The League is a nonpartisan political organization which encourages informed and active citizen participation in government. Membership is open to any citizen 18 years of age or older. We want to thank the City Council and mayoral candidates for their participation this evening, as well as for their invaluable gift to Dubuque by being candidates for public office. The two candidates running for mayor of Dubuque are Brad Kavanaugh and David Resnick. The two people running for at-large councilperson are Michaela Freiberger and incumbent Rick Jones. Unopposed First Ward candidate is incumbent Susan Faber. Running for the third Ward council position are Ricky Carner II and incumbent Danny Sprank. So to begin this evening, Brad Kavanaugh, we will begin with you, and we'll ask all of the candidates to tell us why you are a candidate for the office you seek.
Well, thank you, Mary, and thank you everyone at the League for inviting us. It's good to be back again. This is going to be a good night. I'm really looking forward to being able to answer some what I hear are tough questions. So I'm running for the office of mayor, and I've decided to run for mayor because I know that in the next decade especially, we are going to need strong leadership in Dubuque. And we need a mayor who's going to lead by bringing people together. I've shown that I'm ready to do this. I've reached out to thousands of people at their own doorsteps and all over the city in my race for council, and then also again now in this race for mayor. And I also think we need to have a mayor who believes in bringing people together to create opportunity for everyone. And I think we can do this through responsible investment and in our growth and progress as a city. I'm really ready to lead in this position. I've had over 20 years of experience working with communities and families in my career as a social worker. The last 11 of those years were spent as a professor at Loras College teaching new social workers to go out and be advocates for their community. And I've demonstrated leadership in our community since I returned home in 2008, and leadership on our city council since I've served in the last 2 years. So I hope to be able to serve our great city as our next mayor, and I look forward to the discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick.
Well, thank you. My thanks to the League of Women Voters for the invitation to be here tonight as well. My name is David Resnick, a 14-year veteran on the City Council, and I would be honored to be your next mayor. I've been a recognized leader in the arts community for many years. You may have seen me leading college musical groups, community theater productions, or as the leader of a nonprofit music school. Leading is what I do. To be a great leader, you must be a great listener. In 2017, the council listened to the people and adopted the Imagine Dubuque plan. Now, this is different from political campaigning, where you knock on selected doors to chat up folks, ask for their vote, and maybe stick a sign in their yard. The Imagine Dubuque plan is the result of tremendous outreach, followed by a professional, data-driven analysis and the input from an inclusive citizen task force who met for over 2 years. We got 12,000 ideas from 6,000 citizens, and I'm listening to the results. I have championed the Imagine Dubuque plan from its inception. In fact, I've based my entire mayoral platform on this plan, your plan. Together, we will turn outreach into action. Your city, your ideas.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Jones.
Well, thank you. This is a happy coincidence because the City Council also happens to be a nonpartisan political organization. And so we're a good fit. So thank you to the League for bringing us together tonight. I live on the south side of Dubuque with a wife, Sue, and a dog, Fred. We all like each other very much, and we like this city very much. Spent all of my life as a volunteer with Special Olympics, Hills and Dales, and many of their predecessor agencies. I was a theater arts major at the University of Dubuque, and then they ended the program. I thought it might be useful to be an EMT because I'd been involved in caring for a couple of people that were injured at the U while I was there. then joined the Dubuque Fire Department, progressed to a position on the command staff, and was one of the first paramedics in Iowa as we kind of brought the paramedic program into Dubuque. I was a union president for about a decade. I worked for the State Association of Firefighters, worked for the International Association of Firefighters, then the EMS Association got a hold of me and put me to work as their public policy chair for about a decade. Been a continuous member of the International Musicians Association since 1969. Not necessarily filling my pocket there, but having some good fun along the way. I'm running because I really enjoyed my leadership roles at the fire department. I really enjoyed some of the community things that I was able to do during that time. I was one of the co-chairs of the community group that put together the referendum for the local option sales tax, which has made a huge difference in Dubuque. Thank you.
And your
The
time is
numbers
up.
have been a little confusing. It went from start to 0 and then to 45 or something.
Well, please continue then. I'm sorry I interrupted.
I think I'm okay.
No, I think, yeah, I just joined by you, so we're okay.
We'll talk some more.
Ms. Freiberger?
Thank you to the League for offering this platform and the opportunity to speak today. My name is Michaela Freiberger, and I am running for City Council at large. I am currently the chair of the Dubuque County Food Policy Council, the program coordinator for the Dubuque County Energy District. I am a small business consultant with our local Small Business Development Center, and I am a mother to a 7-year-old daughter named Charlie. Chances are you have saw me in the news for filling vacant storefronts with pop-up shops along the Central Corridor, efforts with Habitat for Humanity for Dubuque's first major low-income solar project, or in the 1 million community food systems proposal we have put forward as a food policy council. I have recently worked directly with most city departments, working to provide our community with ways to move forward with all of us through equitable access to housing, food, energy, business opportunities, arts, infrastructure, and other city services. Now is the time for me to step up and run for city council. Through my master's education, I learned to use resources to collaborate and empower. My experiences have aided in my listening skills, including listening to those with different perspectives than myself, and working to build a better community through civil discourse. As a city councilwoman, I will listen and educate myself to formulate a decision. I believe a city council must paint a clear picture for all citizens of all sides of a decision. I look forward to discussing the issues facing Dubuque tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Farber?
Thank you, Mary Ray, and to the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's forum. 2021 has been a very unique year for me. This upcoming November election will be my third election within the past 8 months. Running a campaign during the pandemic was challenging, as you can imagine, but thanks to my supporters, the February primary was successful, as was the March special election. And now I am honored to represent the my Ward 1 neighbors. Over these past 8 months, I have shown both the ability to listen well and the skills to articulate and represent the ideas of the residents. Above all, responses were quick and problems were solved. The most enjoyable part of this role are these interactions and how I can make a positive difference within the community. This is what our First Ward citizens want and desire. With my 20-year corporate experience and over 18 years operating small businesses, I bring strong leadership and strategic thinking to the council table, engaging discussions to ensure prudent use of taxpayer dollars. I am seeking re-election to continue giving back to my hometown, and most importantly, to make a difference. We have numerous challenges ahead, including making the economy that will provide a quality of life here in Dubuque for all of us. I will continue to focus on our greatest everyday issues, to speak to protecting citizens and city information and their financial and personal backgrounds. So thank you again, and I look forward to talking more this evening about our greatest everyday issues.
Thank you. Mr. Carner?
Hello. First, I'd like to say thank you to the League for having us for this forum. I'm Ricky Carn II. I'm running for the 3rd Ward seat. I would like to say I'm not a politician. I do not have a college education. I have 48 years of life experiences and great work ethic. I intend to bring a shift into the city council to focus on what people want while improving spending, creating opportunities for our citizens who feel they don't have a voice. And I'd like to get programs down the lower 3rd Ward for the lower income kids because they feel like they don't have opportunities because they can't go downtown. Go uptown, I'm sorry. I'm doing this because I care about the city and I could not imagine living anywhere else. I was asked a long time ago, what if you won the lottery? And I said, I'd buy the neighbor's house and tear it down, put a pool there and build a fence and let my dogs run around. Seriously, this is where I live. This is where my heart is. I was born and raised in the 3rd Ward by a single mother. We did move to New Jersey for a little while, but when we arrived back to Dubuque, we arrived to the 3rd Ward. And we purchased a home, which I've been living in since '94. And I was raised to be grateful for what we have. I will never take anything for granted, and I will help to curb the wasteful spending that I feel is going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sprank.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you to the League for hosting this wonderful forum tonight. The reason I'm running is I have a vision for our North End. I want to see a revitalization of the Central Corridor. I want to work with existing businesses and homeowners so they don't feel left out in this process. I want to see Kerper Boulevard rebuilt. We know we've got a lot of empty storefronts and properties down there that they need attention. I want to continue to work with our police department. I know we've had issues lately, and in my 12 years of living there, I've seen them and I've heard them. I want to continue to keep reinvesting in Chaplain Schmidt Island. This is a great amenity for our neighbors and our citizens. I also want to keep working with our folks that are living out in Alpine Park. I know they got some issues coming their way. I want to see Comiskey Park finished, started and finished. It's been in the works for too long. I also want to work with landlords so we have quality housing, and as well as work with our city staff so we have affordable housing. And of course, I want to continue to work with all of our neighbors to see what challenges that we have. I know our entrances aren't that welcoming. I'd like to see 16th Street and 32nd Street revitalized so we can do more. So I'm asking for your support in my vision on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you all. Now, I told you that we weren't going to have any softballs, so we're starting off with a tough one, and we're starting with you, Mr. Resnick. The Iowa State Auditor says Iowa cities are going to take a massive budget cut over the next few years because the Iowa legislature has ended backfill payments made to local governments. What would you do as mayor to make up for those missed funds?
Well, thank you for that question. And our city manager, directed by the council, of course, and the city staff, has anticipated that very thing. And so they have, at our direction, have a 5-year plan that we're going to gradually replace those monies we're doing very many things as far as bringing in money from federal and state resources. But we're also, we're going to use TIF money, which is tax. We have many tax TIF districts in the city, and that's one way that we could actually make money. The other is we are doing very well with our interest rates because of the financial reports that we get from Moody's. We're actually getting money back and refunded from the debts that we have undertaken. And so some of that money that we are being refunded now because of good money management, because of the council, is going to be able to be used for that eventuality. I think it's too bad that we are able to predict that the Iowa House and Senate were going to renege on their promise for the backfill.
Mr. Jones.
We certainly did anticipate that this was coming when the backfill was put in place. It was not just a promise, it was law. And many cities have hung their hat on the fact that that money is going to be there forever. And we were suspicious because we've seen the end of the show before. So the city manager and city staff did in fact plan in the next budget, in the budget that we approved last March, in the budget that will come to us for recommendation this January for approval next March, to address that shrinking amount of backfill. Now, the good news, I guess, if there is any here, is that it doesn't just go away on a magical date. It goes away incrementally over a number of years, and unless they change their mind again, which they can certainly do. But we're pretty well prepared for that. We've taken on a debt reduction strategy a few years ago. Now, we spent a lot of money. We borrowed a lot of money on things like the wastewater treatment plant, on the B Branch project, which is keeping stormwater out of the basements of 1,500 residents or so. We were able to borrow money at the tiniest interest rates that I've seen ever and save a lot of money by doing so. So we saved more money by borrowing than we would have by saving the money in the bank, earning interest on it and paying for it because of the escalation of construction costs from year to year. We've also been adding to our reserve fund, and we've exceeded the recommendations there. So we're going to be able to ride this out. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's certainly going to be doable and foreseen.
Thank you. Ms. Freiberger.
Thank you. So first off, I'm 32, and so I will continue to see this when the backfill continues to end. It's not going to just be proceedingly going away. It's going to be something I will see the end of by my lifetime. And I think it's really important that as Dubuque, we be proactive. I think tonight my message really is going to focus on how can we find the root of any cause and how can we start to find ways to change it. So one way is to increase our tax base here within the city of Dubuque. Every year, we have thousands of students who are dropped not only into our city, but also the surrounding communities. And it's really important that we build a viable city and a resilient city for them to want to stay here and for them to save their community, by paying into our taxes along the way. Additionally, we need to start thinking creatively about the influx of American Rescue Plan dollars and also the additional infrastructure bills that will be coming into our communities. How can we be proactive in recognizing that there may be some infrastructure updates, including energy updates, that we can be utilizing some of these dollars towards, and recognizing down the future those dollars may not be available. Additionally, I am on the grassroots side of things. I am boots on the ground, and I think it's extremely important that we educate our community and keep them in the loop as to how this is going to be impacting our budget here within the city.
Thank you. Ms. Farber.
Yes, thank you for that question. And I'm just going to start out with a general thought about something that Michaela just mentioned, which is our workforce expansion. And as we are targeting strategically how to expand our workforce, that indeed does add extra dollars to our tax base. But Moody's, with whom we work on our bonds, indicated that we, as part of the state of Iowa, are the fastest growing city, that we are going to be above the national average, but then we are behind, and we lag behind actually, in retaining our population, the workforce age. And so that is our challenge. But I do want to comment that we do have historically low interest rates. Water revenue bonds are 1.04. Taxable and non-taxable were between 1.3 and 1.6. So we are able to benefit from those low bonds and the interest dollars that we do save. So I am very appreciative of all that we have done on the City Council this year as well, too, as both Rick and Mr. Resnick have said, that we do have reserves that we do watch on a regular basis, and that indeed we are very cautious and aware of possible grants and federal assistance to help offset that. So we respect the law. It's unfortunate that that law goes in that direction, and maybe at some point it will change. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carner.
Thank you. I would have to agree with Ms. Farber over here. I feel you should get people back working. I think if you create the jobs, which there's plenty of jobs out there, high-paying jobs, which again you could get taxpayer money from these people when they go back to work, and it would help not put a burden on the resources that we have here to help the citizens. If you have people working, they're going to pay taxes, they're going to spend more, and I support the small businesses because then they are the heart of the town pretty much, because their tax money goes back into the city, helps with the police and fire, and I feel we need more of those. And we need other programs to help promote growth within the city. And that's all I have on that one, pretty much.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sprank.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I first heard about the state backfill, where the state was not going to be refilling the backfill, 5 or 6 years ago at my neighborhood association, when Senator Pam Yocum came and talked to us, and I realized then this means my taxes are probably going to go up, just because the backfill, the way that the system is, and I knew it then that okay, our taxes are going to go up. I have been amazed at my time on council how they haven't really gone up. Our assessments have gone up, but not our actual taxes per se from the city. We've been trying to be very good with that to folks because we don't want to hurt anybody. And so I kind of feel like, yes, we will have to figure out how to replace those funds from the state, whether it's getting help from our federal, our grants, or we'll work with maybe. Yeah, it'll be a challenging issue when we don't have an answer right now, and I think once we get there, we'll come up with a better solution. So, and we'll just have to keep informing our citizens. So, with that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh.
All right, thank you. I'm not going to reiterate everything that was said, but a couple of points real quickly. We are generally ready because we did see this coming, and this is something that our very talented people in the finance and budget office have been planning for. We do need to increase our tax base in our workforce, and we also need to make sure that we continue to carefully invest and use debt and tax dollars wisely. So those points were well made. The other thing that I think is really important to point out here is this is a solid reason why we need a strong leader who is a strong advocate for the city of Dubuque as our next mayor. One of the things that was done about this backfill was it was something that the entire state of Iowa, across the state, it was people were advocating for this and making sure that cities' voices were heard. We have an Iowa League of Cities that does this. In my first 3 months on the council, in the beginning of 2020, actually, I was able to go to Washington, D.C., and there I advocated for something that the city of Dubuque needed. We need the infrastructure bill to pass. We needed it then, we need it now. And I was there advocating. I met with Senator Grassley, met with Senator Ernst's office, and also met with Congresswoman Finkenauer at the time, and said, this is what we need in Dubuque, and here's why. And I think that we need a mayor who's ready to do that and continue to take on that role of advocacy. This past year, I was appointed to the Iowa League of Cities Executive Board here in the state of Iowa, and that board is in charge of political advocacy for all municipalities across the state. So that is something that I'll continue to do, and we need that in our next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. In 2011, Dubuque was identified as one of 8 U.S. climate champion communities. However, the 2021 city priorities did not specifically identify climate as any of its dozens of entries. So how would you lead Dubuque in moving forward in the climate crisis? And we will begin with Ms. Freiberger.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned in the beginning, my work is boots on the ground, grassroots organization in the energy world, one of which addresses climate within our 50% by 2030 Community Climate Action and Resiliency Plan. I feel that this plan needs to stop just living and it needs to start existing, whether it's through complete streets implementation or it's by utilizing resources like we are doing with our urban renewal district to reach those who are often last in the energy transition, whether it be with energy efficiency updates, which often reduce greenhouse gas emissions much more than if we were to put solar panels on everyone's homes. I think climate is something I continue to find myself as a champion in, not just in the energy world, but also within the food systems world. I recognize that our food consumption here in Dubuque County, and as well as in the Dubuque City, must change in order for us to not only reduce hunger within our community and provide more food resiliency, but also to help in our climate and help reduce our impact. Corn sweat is a real thing, and people may not realize it, that it is impacting our daily lives and how our environment may interact with us, including things like fog, like we had the other day. So I think it's really important that we stop just existing in this climate action plan, and I, as one of my council priorities, am willing to champion the 50% by 2030 community reaction plan. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Jones, I just realized that we were not in alphabetical order before, so I apologize for the mix-up before. We started with Ms. Freiberger, and now we'll go to Mr. Jones.
Well, thank you. The 50% by 2030 is a project that is very much alive in Dubuque. Now, we got some low-hanging fruit that wasn't really our work. That has improved the environment and the atmosphere quite a bit. A coal-fired power plant in Dubuque and one in Cassville no longer burn coal. In fact, the one in Dubuque doesn't burn anything. Now, we didn't do that. We can't take a bow for it, but it certainly impacted our numbers of particulate matter in the air. I'd like to think that we would have done that somehow as we go forward with this. Now, one of the things that is in the works that's happening right now is we've got a small project. I wish it were bigger, but it's a pilot project to put solar on roofs of low-income folks that own their property. And we think we can help them with that. They're going to have some skin in the game too. They're going to have a small investment to get it there, but the return on investment should be pretty quick. I know that we're going to prove that that's a pretty viable thing to do. We have the largest solar farm in Iowa in our industrial park. On the west side, we have a medium-sized one down on Kerper Boulevard where people can see it. And that's pretty key. We have to have kids growing up thinking that this is where electricity comes from, not a big smokestack sticking into the air. Despite the fact that our goals do not specifically include sustainability, it's our brand. We live it and breathe it. We've got full-time people that work it in City Hall, and we're not about to walk away from it.
Thank you. Ms. Farber.
Yes, thank you for that question. I have objectives and goals to push here with the sustainability, and it centers around our gas emissions. And I am a proponent of electric vehicles, and I am a proponent of the city doing more going forward to actually increase the number of charging stations that we can offer in our public facilities, so in our parking ramps or any of our parking spaces. Because this is a moving forward, this is something that the whole nation is moving toward, and as we do this, it's another source of revenue actually, because as gasoline taxes and the revenues go down because more people are shooting and moving to electric cars and electric trucks, there is a revenue model there that can be taken advantage of. So it's a green, it's what tourists are looking for as well when they do traveling across the tri-state area. So that's one of the out-of-the-box things that I am working on, is to promote our fleet to be electric and to support our infrastructure. And hopefully with the Build Better program from the federal government, we can perhaps secure some funding for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carner.
I don't have a lot of knowledge on this green thing, so I can't really comment too much on it, so I kind of would have to pass on this one here, per se.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. Mr. Sprank.
Yeah, I work in construction, and I've seen how the construction community and industry is moving towards being more greener. This cost. I know a number of our city facilities need updating to be more energy efficient. They're getting there. I would love to see a way to invest in solar in multiple homes in the North End, for example, but all that cost, and I think that's why it's been kicked down the can for so many decades by other people, just because of the cost. It's finally, though, the costs are becoming more economical that other industries can get involved in this, as well as municipalities. So I'm hoping we can do more. I know we're trying to do more, And I'm really excited with our little, like Ms. Farber mentioned, that was she actually advocated very hard for having this electric charging stations. I would love to own an electric car. I can't afford an electric car. I might buy a used one someday, but it is costly, and figuring out a way to pay for it is always key without raising and hurting our citizens. So I'm hoping we can find ways and programs that allow us to pay for things. So thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh.
Yes, thank you. It is unfortunate that we weren't able to make it a priority this particular year in the prioritization session that we had. Those sessions are interesting, and I know that a whole lot of people don't come to see how we do this as a council, but it's 7 people working together, hashing deals out to try to figure out, what are we going to prioritize this year? And we go through a very long list of things. I mean, as somebody is fond of saying, if everything's a priority, then nothing's a priority. So it is a challenge. I did vote for this in the priority session, and it's something that I'd vote for again next year. I would like to see us make this a larger priority. But I think it was Mr. Jones who actually said that, it doesn't ever really stop being a priority for the city of Dubuque. We have a sustainability office. I would like to see that office continue to grow. That is something that I would push for as mayor. I would like to see that office continue to have more funding to be able to do what it needs to do, because this is a problem that municipal governments can't solve on our own, but it's something that we do have to take on as a municipal government. We can't just expect that the international stage and the national stage is going to take care of this for us. We have to do whatever we can. One thing that is moving forward is the electrification of our bus fleet. This is something that is coming, and we're going to continue to work towards that. Even though we haven't made this a specific priority of the year, it's in the works, and we're going to continue to do that. I want to see us continue to do those things, and I will definitely continue to push for it as mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick.
Thank you very much. And so I agree that this is our brand, resilience, environmental repair. And I did want to point out that one of the pillars of my platform, running for mayor, is to build on our resilience. And that we need to do a lot more as far as environmental repair. We want to be an adaptable, flexible city with redundance and increased reliability. So we have a lot in progress. It's been talked about. I am the chair of the landfill board. I've been on the board for 14 years. On Thursday, I have the honor of cutting a ribbon at the RNG, a new RNG, renewable natural gas plant out at the landfill, where we're going to be doing more than talking about other kinds of energies and how we can use energy. We're going to be able to use that methane capture and turn it into fuel for vehicles and other things with that very useful gas. Again, so that's one thing that we're doing. And as I mentioned before, my platform comes from the Imagine Dubuque plan, and what they say, I agree with Ms. Freiberger, please continue to implement the 50% by 2030 climate action resiliency plan.
Thank you. Excuse me. Our next question is, do you support the proposed project to construct a new Five Flags Theater? And what is your solution to a large community/entertainment space? And we will start with Mr. Jones.
Well, thank you. I support it, but the city council does not yet. The city council supports, and our job is to figure out what the project could look like, what it will cost, and ask the question of the voters. Our whole job will be to define the question in scope of project and scope of cost, and then ask the voters at referendum on what they want to do. And then we have to get it built within those parameters. So we were ready to go with this about 1.5 years ago, and then COVID struck, delayed there's no sense in going to referendum. We weren't sure if anybody had the appetite to pay more for anything, and we thought that it would impact the results of a referendum. And we thought it would be irresponsible to talk about an enormous public works project in the midst of the worldwide pandemic. So it kind of got backburnered. It got backburnered until next spring when we'll have it back on our table to say, okay, what are we going to do? When are we going to set this referendum? But it's not going to be about what we think. It's going to be about what the public thinks. Now, in the meantime, we have budgeted for the deferred maintenance on the existing facility. It would be completely irresponsible of us or anybody else to let it fall down around itself. So that's not going to happen. But once we find out the will of the voters, we'll either build an exciting project or we'll continue to manage what we have and make it as good as it can be.
Thank you. Ms. Freiberger?
Thank you. I work at a small business, and every Saturday that there is a show at Five Flags, I watch the influx of people come downtown and spend their dollars in Dubuque. I see the tourism impact, I see the small business impact. And Dubuque right now, we are not supporting our small businesses to keep them afloat. We do need to have something to keep Five Flags going and not just a Band-Aid. As mentioned before, there are construction costs that may be different just due to COVID impacting all of the different materials that we would need. So I think that update plan and expenses would need to be made. In addition, we have creative collaboration in our community. We need to start thinking outside of the box that is just those walls. This can be a community center to complement spaces like the Multicultural Family Center when they would like to host larger scale events, including our city programming that they would like to have on a much larger scale and much safer as well. So I think that the voters will make their decision, but I believe that this is an opportunity for our city to reinvest in ourselves and also to make an opportunity for my daughter to have something down the future, not just a Band-Aid over something. We do have a historic building that is connected to this space, which is up for rehabilitation as part of this process as well. So please consider that as part of that.
Thank you. Ms. Farber?
Thank you, Mary Ray. And I would like to see further community discussion and a little more work behind the scenes for city staff prior to this coming to a referendum. And what I mean by that is for us to explore alternative ways to actually grow and support the Five Flags, even today as well as in the future. And that could be looking at and reviewing how we actually allocate our hotel and motel tax. Is there an opportunity, as an example, to create a ticket tax, even of $1, for all the events that may occur at the Five Flags Center? That would have an inflow of some revenues that we could use, and then it would also be important, I think, to have a public-private partnerships. And we had talked about this before with community groups that are supporting the Five Flags initiative to see how we could partner together with some of the businesses and local business leaders here in Dubuque. I'd like to revisit the consulting and the surveys that were done previously, and based on my research, we have spent about $235,000 year-to-date on surveys and consulting fees, and I would like us to take a look prior to the dialogue with the community to further understand how those can be used, or if we have to revisit that consulting and revisit the cost and how that facility can be upgraded. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hopefully getting further community discussion on this issue.
Thank you. Mr. Carner?
I do not support building a new Five Flags, for the reason being, it's been there it's had a loss of revenue for a good 15 years now. So I feel, why would you build a new, bigger building when you can't even use the building that you have and turn a profit? So I feel if you can show you're turning a profit on a smaller venue, then build bigger and better. But if you can't show you're getting a profit, then you don't need to build bigger. I'm for fixing up and remodeling what's there now to try to draw in some acts and maybe turn a profit. But at this point, I feel, no, you shouldn't build it because it's not turning a profit. And if it does go up for vote, I feel that the citizens of Dubuque should have a say-so on it, and it should go up for vote and let the citizens decide themselves. But myself, I feel no, do not build it because not turning a profit. It's like if you own a small business and you keep losing money, you're gonna have to close the doors. So we're basically just keep throwing money at a building that's losing money. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sprank?
Yeah, personally, I'd like to see the referendum passed, but I don't think it will. The cost, once the council or the city gets new estimated cost, it'll probably have gone up maybe $5-10 million. Citizens won't pay for that. So it'll get shot down the first round, like it did in the 70s when when the idea was realized in the late 60s that, hey, we need to save the original theater, and then we want to build this additional space onto it, the arena. So I feel we'll have to do a lot of retooling with it. It'll probably be a smaller venue than what's originally imagined right now, which is a shame because there's great potential with the hotel motel tax. And as Ms. Freiberger mentioned about how it brings in people, it brings in folks that don't live in our community to visit our community, to experience Dubuque, to have a great time in Dubuque. And it's going to be hard to convince the electorate to say, I want my taxes raised on something that I may or may not use anymore. The folks that are going to be in charge of that campaign are going to have one heck of a hill to climb. So if it happens, it happens. When it's decided, I'll go from there. But unfortunately, we do have to spend money just to fix the building. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh?
Thank you. This is one of those very unfortunate things that happened. The list is miles long during the pandemic. We had it on the ballot. It was ready to go. We were going to have a community conversation, and we were going to see where we stand on this as voters. And as Mr. Jones mentioned, we had to pull it off based on the pandemic. I can't wait to have this conversation as a council. This is coming back to us, I believe, in January. We tabled it until then. It's going to come back, and we're going to decide, okay, what is it that we want to put before the voters? That is our job as the city council. What question are we going to put before voters? So once we decide on that question, I also can't wait to have the community conversation about what this is going to be. What do we want in this place that we know of as Five Flags right now? There are a couple of facts that I think are really important as we consider this. The first is that this is an economic engine. Do not just think about concerts when you think about Five Flags. Think about 4-day-long cheerleading competitions in the middle of March, packing hotels and restaurants in downtown Dubuque. It is an economic driver. We need a Five Flags downtown in some way, shape, or form for that reason. It is our center for arts and culture. The historic building was mentioned that's attached to this. We have a very historic, beautiful theater there. It's a center for our arts and culture in the city. It's also the hub of our downtown, if you think about it. I mean, we have so many different ways that people can enjoy downtown from out of town when they come here, when they're there for something at Five Flags. We need to have this community conversation, and I can't wait to put it before voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick?
Thank you. And I would like to disagree that with the question that goes before the voters comes from the council. I think Mr. Kavanaugh missed it on this one because we support our citizen boards and commission. And the reason that it's going to be a certain size or of a certain cost is because the Five Flag Commission came to us and they voted unanimously to, they're all citizens of Dubuque now, and they voted unanimously to request a referendum on the deluxe option, which is the largest option that they had. They felt very strongly. And as a council, I'm glad we backed them 7-0 to say, well, this is not about what the council wants. It's about what the people want, the people working on it, the commission. So I've been talking about Five Flags and asking people what's going on there, how can we make it better, from 2014, when it seemed to be everybody was fine with it losing $600, $800, $1 million a year. I think we can't let that go. I have to say that the Imagine Dubuque plan says, interestingly, repurpose the Five Flags Center according to outreach studies to better showcase and utilize the storied downtown venue. So it just seems like it's wide open as far as the citizens are concerned. I think it does. We need some more discussion. Let's put on the ballot what our citizens would like to put up and then go from there.
Thank you. Our next question now has to do with another issue that's very popular for folks to talk about, and it has to do with the agreement that the city has with Roshek Properties, Cunningham and Butler and Heartland, and that is to build an additional parking ramp in our downtown area. That's what the situation is, and so what is your solution? And we'll start with Ms. Farber.
Thank you for that question. I have to respect the fact that there is a contract between the city, Heartland, and Cottingham and Butler. However, I think that we should have current thinking with those executives to ensure that the size of the parking ramp, the usage of the parking ramp is still of value to those organizations. And I think it's very important to have that feedback from those stakeholders. I also think that in parallel, there's some other uses that could be considered for the parking ramp concurrently, and one is with the county having a use for it. It's also a potential connector, if you will, to the Millwork District for DePaco and other firms that are down there. And then also, we could put in, as I mentioned before, e-vehicle charging stations, which also would be a revenue generator for us on that ramp. So basically, I am looking for further conversation and a further valuation and conversation with the key stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carner.
Okay. I feel that we don't need another parking ramp downtown, and quite a few other citizens feel the same way. So I know the city's on the hook for a contract with the Heartland and Cunningham Butler. So I feel that probably the best solution would be you have the ramp on Locust and Bluff there. It's the oldest one in the town. They proposed to spend $300,000 to repair it, and they spent $1.7 million on the property down there. If they would have took those monies and put them together, they could have tore down that one and rebuilt a bigger, better one for all the businesses around here, and it would be a better location for Heartland Financial and Cunningham Butler. And then if you wanted to bring Heartland Financial and Cunningham Butler to the table, see if they want to go in on a sky ramp on their dime and connect a sky ramp from a new and improved parking ramp to their building, but if they pay for it. But the parking ramp would be on the city and the taxpayers because we're already on the hook for it. So build a bigger, better one and get rid of the one that's falling apart, because truthfully, it's the oldest one here, and you don't know how well and stable it is with all the salt and stuff and the inclement weather that we have throughout the years and cars driving in there. And that would be my solution, was tear down that, build a better one, and this way it would affect all the businesses around here.
Thank you. Mr. Sprank.
Thank you, Mary. So yeah, the contract, the ink on that contract is dry. We're talking about two local businesses that have been very good to our citizens and good businesses in general. They came to us, they wanted to expand. It made sense to me to agree on this. I also thought of the idea that Mr. Carter mentioned, but then I thought of, where are those people going to park for 2 years, maybe up to 18 months to 2 years? Because you're going to have to demo it, rebuild it, and you're going to have a lot of unhappy citizens with that then. I looked at this project and thought, okay, I also asked the question as to, we're only really looking at right now the big green shed along White Street. When Hendricks built that building, they had to tear down 4 historic buildings that nobody seemed to care about in the 90s. So I feel like we're kind of splitting hairs here. We've got some good people who want this space, who came to us, and as well as this parking ramp will also serve the Millwork District and possible future expansion in the Millwork District. And I really think the county wants space out of it. So the really thing I'm looking at is the size of it. Maybe it doesn't have to be as big as what we believe it needs to be. So Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. So I've been pretty clear about this from the moment that I've been on council and we've started talking about it. You know, the deal was struck in December of 2019, so right before I was able to take office. I don't necessarily have a problem with the deal itself. Mr. Sprank is absolutely correct on this one. We are working with two businesses that have been very loyal to Dubuque and remain so, and purchased the Roshek building and now are expanding their businesses. It's something that we need to work with and help them. So I completely support Heartland and Cottingham and Butler in this. All I'm asking is actually something very simple. I want to see some numbers that show some proof that we need a new parking ramp in this place in downtown Dubuque. That's it. If those numbers are there, if we see numbers that say we absolutely need that parking, because that's really what Heartland and Cottingham and Butler were asking for in this agreement, if we can see those numbers, then absolutely, I could get on board with being able to do this, but I'd have to be able to see that this is something that we're going to need and that we have some proof that shows that. Things changed drastically after this development agreement was created, and we all know how those things change. There are still businesses downtown that are not back. There are many workers who are working part-time from home. It's a great new economy in a lot of ways for that reason, but we need to reimagine what that means for parking downtown. So I want us to take a look at that more closely before we move forward with this agreement. Thank you.
Mr. Resnick.
Thank you very much. It's very important. Our city is built on partnerships. It's very important that we really consider what we're doing. I don't think we can say, I'm for this only if, or if they used to say in math, if and only if this. We have got to say, you know what, we're going to make the best of this situation. Now, I don't think we should pull out unilaterally. You know, if there's an agreement between all parties, that maybe we should look, it's in everybody's best interest to look at this again. Everybody in the agreement wants to do that, then I want to be part of that conversation. But let's keep looking. In the meantime, we're going to keep looking for federal and state funds, state grants. But let's not just take our ball and go home. This is very important. And once we get that parking building up, and it can be renegotiated, maybe, if everybody wants to a certain size. I like it smaller as well. And I don't want it to get too big, especially right next to our beautiful courthouse. But if we need to do this, then let's really consider putting in some technological investments into this, that we can really be a smart parking facility. And as Mr. Kavanaugh mentioned, make this as efficient as possible in the downtown.
Thank you. Ms. Freiberger.
I figured we would be going alphabetically. Thank you for your question. So first off, I think we need to be proactive with our thought process, and we need to start talking to the neighbors of the proposed site for this parking ramp. We need to see how they would imagine this impacting their neighborhood. Right now, it's referred to as a concrete jungle. They just blacktopped right in front of some of our neighbors' spaces, whether they're residents or small businesses. So I think we can think creatively and also implement some of our complete streets processes with the 50% by 2030. We can look at doing some green space, whether it's on the roof or it's elsewhere along the sides. I think also we need to start thinking like other cities and looking what other cities are doing as it relates to these contracts. You know, as we've mentioned, as some of my the people around the table here today have mentioned, it's important to bring all relevant parties to the table to have this conversation. However, how can we start thinking about what can be on that first floor? Can we start putting storefront spaces in and start looking to increase a small business incubator? Can we also look at working with our councils, boards, and commissions to really start thinking creatively, because they are the boots on the ground doing this work, talking with people, making decisions, and how can we work together to build a plan involving all parties, including those most impacted? As mentioned before, electric vehicle charging is something that we are able to start to look at federal dollars to help alleviate some costs. However, we do, as Iowans, need to start being proactive and start talking to our state legislators if we want to really focus on electric vehicle charging as part of this project. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
We first have to recognize this isn't just about the Roshek building. Dupaco is also a partner to this agreement with their newly rehabbed building. We have hundreds of people working in the core of downtown that haven't been before. And one of the things that they need to bring to the workplace is a place to park their vehicles. Now, I know that's a moving target as we get more electrified, as we get to autonomous vehicles and less of us owning a vehicle, things are going to change some more. But right here, right now, is that for the first time in quite a while, the Roshek building is going to be fully occupied, privately owned again. You remember that Dubuque Initiatives took ownership of it for a while and redeveloped it when the last large tenant was going to occupy a few floors. They're gone now. That space is all filled with Cottingham and Butler and Heartland, two growing enormous pieces of Dubuque historically and Dubuque in the future. We were looking, before the IBM conversations 15, 16 years ago, we were looking at that maybe being an empty, blighted building in the middle of downtown, the Roshek building, to join the many buildings in the Millwork District. What we learned in the existing redevelopment in the Millwork District is that the city had to come first. The city had to redo the streets, had to redo the streetscapes, had to redo the utilities to make it attractive and even feasible for the private investors to bring their money to rehab the buildings. And the same thing has to happen for the remaining vacant buildings down there. So this ramp is a key to all of those things. I'm going to let you ring the bell, but I'm going to go ahead and say we are in fact having conversation with the partners, and if this could be delayed, because that might make sense for them as well as us.
Okay, thank you. Our next question has to do with the countywide land and water legacy bond issue that's going to be on the November ballot. The bond issue hopes to raise $40 million for investment in land and protection of water quality and natural resources and outdoor recreational amenities. What are your feelings on the bond issue? Mr. Carner, we'll start with you.
Oh, boy. Well, that one I really don't know a lot about, so I really don't feel comfortable commenting on that one yet.
All right, fair enough. Mr. Sprank.
Thank you. It is a county bond referendum, so citizens have to decide if they want their taxes raised by the county. All the park upgrades would take place in the county. I believe the city has no say on this matter. Really, it's the county's decision that the county decided to do this. So it is. I support the idea of it if citizens want to get their taxes raised by the county, not the city. So that's kind of been the thing that it came about fairly fast, and there's a group trying to get out as much information about it. But in the end, your taxes would be raised if you vote for this by the county, and it would be to fix all of our great parks. So the county parks. Thank you.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. So personally, I do support this, just personally. I grew up on the river. My kids are growing up on the river. We spend a lot of time outdoors, and one of the things that we have as an asset in this community is our beauty. I mean, the natural landscape that we have in Dubuque is, I think, unmatched anywhere else that I've seen. I know there are a lot of beautiful places throughout the United States and the world, but somebody else said it at the table, there's nowhere else I'd rather live. We've got it all right here, and we need to make sure we protect it. So I think it's important to do that. On the side of speaking more from the perspective of my perspective on the council, however, I do wish that we could see more coordination and planning between the city and the county on issues like this one. It's something that I would like to continue to improve on as mayor. This is one of those things that some very I think very talented people have taken on, and they're working very hard to make sure that the community learns about this, and that's fantastic. What I'd like to see more, though, is before we move forward with things like this and put things on the ballot, such as this one, we have more projects in the works that we can say and we can point to. This is exactly what this is going to go for in the city of Dubuque. That's one of the challenges with this right now, and I'd like to see more coordination in the future to make sure that we can have that happen. It is something that I want to take on as mayor, making sure that those relationships are formed and there, so making sure that we can always have that when things like this come up. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick.
Thank you very much. I mean, who could be against land and water? I mean, I think it's great that I talked about environmental repair before. So, but this is really, as Mr. Sprank alluded to, a question for all the individuals in the county. Of course, that means City of Dubuque citizens as well. But I would like the county to get us, the citizens of Dubuque, more information so that we can make a really informed decision. I mean, so there's a lot going on in here. I haven't decided personally, but this is just me personally, what to do. It sounds great, and I love recreation as much as anybody here. But the county hasn't asked the city council to endorse this, so we won't.
Thank you. Ms. Freiberger?
Thank you. First off, if you have not seen these flyers floating around, there are some floating around throughout the community, as well as you should have mail in your inbox. So you should be getting direct mailers for this Land and Water Legacy, including information about how you can find out more online, including Facebook and a website. So I highly recommend those who are unable to speak to truly this project to go ahead and find out more. In there, they identify the 4 pillars, including water quality, wildlife habitat, land and water trails, and parks, all of which are things I utilize pretty much on the weekly, including the land and water trails. I go out hiking and kayaking as much as I possibly can. So I really want you to think about today, what is your favorite thing to do outside, and where is that? And most of the time, it's in Dubuque County, and it's somewhere that's going to be positively impacted by this bond referendum. So yes, I am in full support of the county continuing this conversation and this $40 million bond referendum to invest in those 4 pillars. Additionally, the community will be involved in how those dollars are spent by showing up to the Board of Supervisors meetings. So myself and Kavanaugh here had spoken in front of the city council numerous years ago about bringing a food policy council to the city's table. So I think it's not just meeting with the city and the county, and that there is a true low appetite for collaboration between these parties, and we need to find something like this Land and Water Legacy as an opportunity to step in and as a gateway for other programming to advance our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
County's done a nice job with parks, and this will give them the opportunity to do a much nicer job for a much longer time. So I'm going to personally go out and vote it, but as Mr. Kavanaugh and others have said, the county has not asked the city of Dubuque to participate or to endorse. So our official position as a city council is neutral. I'm glad it's going to referendum. That'll mean it'll truly happen because of the will of the people, at least the people that get up and vote on November 2nd. It is an exciting project. It's going to create a lot more opportunity to not just maintain the acres and acres and acres of land that's under county management right now, but to develop some new spaces as well. I'm excited about the prospect. I certainly back the ambition of it. And the people that are driving it are some outstanding leaders in your community and deserve your support, deserve our individual support, not our City of Dubuque support.
Thank you. Ms. Farber?
Thank you very much. So the referendum really is what I would consider a key success factor for Dubuque County. And as we were talking about, one of the key success factors going forward is going to be expanding our workforce and expanding our population. So the fact that they're forward thinking about the preservation of our natural assets and continuing to increase our leisure and sports activities, I think is wonderful. However, I do agree with my colleagues that we do need more conversation and more collaboration with the county in order to help promote and or dialogue about the benefits of this referendum. $40 million is not to be taken lightly. And I think that if we have more investment and more conversation about the city council commitment with the county, I think that that's highly recommended and beneficial to everyone. So I desire basically to support this, but on the other hand, it is not our decision. It's really up to the citizens of the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question has to do with recycling, and it's what can the city do, if anything, about bottle and can recycling. Mr. Sprague?
Thank you, Mary. Well, cans we can continue to keep working with, but actually this is a big state issue. I had many citizens during, well, we're still in this pandemic, so to speak, have reached out to me and be like, what can we do? Because the Can Redemption Center is not open enough. And there is laws that they are supposed to be open certain hours. The city has reached out to them on this matter. Our state, local elected officials have reached out to them on this matter. I've looked at personally creating a small business to try to figure out how could I actually do this? And it's really hard with the complexities of where the cans or the bottles have to go back to the distributor. And this would be like Pepsi or Coke. And it's actually a lot more complicated than what I thought. So what the city can do is, continue to encourage citizens to keep recycling. Unfortunately, you may not get your change back out of your cans. I know there are other organizations that are taking them and doing the best they can. Our Veterans Freedom Center, for example, you can literally just take a garbage bag down there and they will gladly recycle your cans for you as a donation. So, it's kind of a state issue. Thank you.
Mr. Kavanaugh?
Yeah, thank you. It absolutely is a state issue. However, I do think that the city can have some role to play in this, especially those of us on the city council and especially the mayor. I think part of what, this is no small issue. Sometimes I think we look at the bottle bill and we think, it's just about, taking your cans back. And it's actually far more than that. There's a lot of money involved and there's a lot of materials involved. It's not easy to do this. And this is why we see grocery stores speaking up about it. It's why we see the Can Redemption Center struggling with staffing and things like that. So what we really need, I think, is just like a lot of issues like this that have to do with state advocacy, we need to get organized and we need to get around the table and be able to say, what is the best thing for our community? As mayor, I would encourage that type of conversation. I'd be the one to be able to bring people around the table, hopefully, to have some of these discussions, along with our very talented city staff who does this on a daily basis. So we can make sure that when this is brought up again in the state legislature, which it will be, that we're ready to go and we have something to say. And we can say what works for Dubuque and make sure that we're advocating as strongly as we can in Des Moines on this one. Thank you.
Mr. Resnick?
Well, thank you. I do think Mayor Buell is doing a good job doing advocacy for Dubuque. So I absolutely agree that the mayor needs to be part of it, and he's doing a good job. I would like to say that when the question was first read, I read this to be perhaps talking about recycling bottles and cans. What about the glass? And, we, again, 14 years on the landfill committee, glass recycling is very important to Dubuque citizens. Now, we needed to take it out of the curbside pickup because of safety reasons for those workers dealing with glass. But the citizens said, we still want to recycle glass. So the board of the landfill was determined to help the citizens do what they want. So we've set up different locations around the area. The newest one, I believe, is out at Hy-Vee in Asbury. And so that's one thing that we have done. Again, responding to citizens. What do the citizens want? They're pretty smart. And so we need to continue to do what we can to help the citizens do what they can for the environment. And I do like what I do, of course, like Mr. Sprank does, take our plastic bottles down to the veterans group. But we need to have a better solution for that. I'm glad the veterans can make some money on it.
Thank you. Ms. Freiberger?
Thank you. So as mentioned before, and I'm not going to, continue to reiterate it, it is a state level conversation, but I think this is the time our city can start to empower our neighbors and our citizens to start raising their voices We have three local legislators who really believe that we need to push through the state bottle tax, which increases the dollars that go back to places like our Can Redemption Center just for taking cans. So I think it's really important that if this is an issue you're passionate about, you write your state legislators, you also continue to show up and ask these questions of us, because we do have the ability to think creatively. We have the Dubuque Metropolitan Solid Waste Management Authority here in Dubuque that currently does pickup days or drop-off days for electronics and other hazardous materials. Can we work with them to do a drop-off day and propose that this be for cans, bottles, and glass? Why not? There's an opportunity at the table that we could step into instead of just saying it's the state's problem to handle. Additionally, I want to just reiterate that those who are looking to dispose of glass can go to our Kerper facility, the municipal utility, as well as out at Asbury Hy-Vee to dispose of those properly and safely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Yeah, glass is a real challenge for us. Besides the injury potential, it was getting a very expensive ride to a sort facility somewhere who'd look at a truckload and find a green bottle in with the clear glass and reject the load, so it would get a long, expensive ride back to the landfill. And that's why we got away from it. I'm glad we were able to purposefully get it recycled now. I will say that cans and plastic bottles can go in your recycling bin and they'll be properly recycled. They won't go to the landfill, they'll go to the recycling center and they will be properly recycled and rehabilitated. The problem with the Redemption Center model, which is created by law decades ago, and as long as I can remember, there's been a bottle bill before the legislature that never went anywhere. The problem right now is that the nickel is mostly kept by retailers, mostly kept by the manufacturer of the soda that they put in the can, because most of those cans and bottles aren't coming back. What the Redemption Center gets is such a tiny increment of that nickel, and their handling costs and their employee costs are through the roof, plus their employee availability really kind of stinks right now. Then when COVID came, the grocery stores who were required to redeem the products that they sold were able to get out of it because they were worried about the infection menace that could be posed by bringing back dirty bottles and cans into their back room where they'd like you to think their bananas are sitting right next to the cans. So very complex issue. State government's got to get to work and solve the problem they created.
Thank you. Ms. Farber.
Thank you very much. So as a small business owner, we actually sell beverages in cans and in bottles. And so we are a proponent of recycling, and we take time and attendance to do that at our operation. And we also encourage others to do so, and we actually separate out our garbage from our recycling that gets taken from the operation twice a week. And I encourage everyone to do that as well. But I do think that this issue is a little bigger than a breadbasket, and that it really needs further attention at the state level, and that it also needs our attention here at the City Council at our table to, again, create a dialogue and, again, to have a conversation as to what we think is workable for the citizens here in Dubuque, and what the interest is and the appetite is for others to step up to the plate and to help, because this is very, very important. It's an environmental issue. It's sustainability for us, and it really helps with our future. So I look forward to future dialogue, I think, at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carner.
I would like to see stores get back to taking the cans. I feel they should be taking them back since they sell them, so they should be responsible for taking the deposits back. I feel the glass center that we have out at Hy-Vee in Asbury and the one on Kerper, I feel we should have more of those around the city. Like maybe hit all the Hy-Vees, because there's 3 locations for the Hy-Vees. You could put one in each one of there to recycle the glass to help people that don't have the means to drive uptown or to Kerper. So it's kind of centrally located for individuals on where they live. And of course, the Redemption Center, I like going there, sometimes taking my cans. It's quick and easy, it's convenient. The Veteran Center is a good thing too. There's multiple outlets to take your bulk cans, but I feel we need to incorporate more. Like maybe put another Redemption Center downtown or out on the arterial somewhere just so we have two, so we can keep things flowing nicely and there's not cans and bottles all over the place.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I couldn't
Probably
understand.
one more question.
Exactly what I was thinking. Great minds think alike. So we're going to wind this up with a question that right now we don't know where they are, but we're hoping that they're going to be coming, and that's federal infrastructure funds. If and when Dubuque receives those funds, how would you spend them? What would your top priorities be? And we'll start with Mr. Kavanaugh.
Well, thank you. So this is I already mentioned that this is something that we've been advocating for, and I personally have been advocating for years already. I do think it's a matter of when. I do think we will see something. And when it is here, one of the things that we need to remember about city government in Dubuque is that we have I've mentioned, a very talented group of city staff who bring us some very important or some very well thought out ideas on how we need to go about spending the money that we have here. Along with that, I think it was Mr. Resnick who mentioned that there are citizen commissions that actually will do the same. They'll have items before them to be able to say, what is it that we need to do with this money as it comes our way? So some things that I see and things that I'm hearing about, roads are number one. The things that people see that we drive on every single day, that's the thing that's most at mind for most people. What's right underneath the road is number two. So our sewer infrastructure, our water infrastructure, the things that are extremely important in getting things where they need to go, is very old and it's aged. I mean, we're the oldest city in Iowa. So this is something that we need to make sure that we're addressing. Those are the two things that I've heard the most about from people, are those items right there. So I think that those are things that we'll definitely be looking at. But what I would say is I would guarantee that we will look comprehensively at what we can do with this money and where it needs to be spent the best. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick.
Thank you. Well, we're talking about my platform right here. It's all about build on our success together. And it's really talking about partnering with President Biden and the Build Back Better, as well as Governor Reynolds with Build Iowa, so that when we get these funds, we're ready to move our community forward. I talk about build on our financial strength, but this question, I think, talks about, I would love to see that we build on our history by doing more to preserve and promote our historic buildings and really turn those into activation is the word that I've been hearing in the community as far as historical preservation. The other is, I think we really need to continue building on our resilience. Infrastructure is, of course, very important. So those are the things that I would like to do. And I've always been impressed with the way Dubuque has really focused infrastructure on our downtown area. And we really build the heart of Dubuque. And then from there, the spokes have been really responding. So we've got, we're concentrating on the north end. We've got some ideas to do as far as infrastructure. We've got, of course, our beautiful downtown, which includes, we want to make sure we have broadband access. So that's what I would like to do, and there's so much we can do.
Thank you. Ms. Freiberger?
Thank you. First off, I would like to start by addressing what was gutted within our state legislature by bringing more proactive policies here to our city of Dubuque, one of which is really advocating for bringing our workforce back as it relates to energy efficiency jobs and solar jobs. Right now, we have not yet felt the impact of the lack of the solar tax credit here in Iowa, but I do have a feeling we are going to lose many jobs within our community, as we did feel an impact when the loss of energy efficiency jobs hit us after 2018. Additionally, we have not yet seen the electric vehicle infrastructure impact within the state of Iowa, as Iowa this last year passed a limit to who can sell new electric vehicles and how you can acquire them. Additionally, I think it's really important that we utilize complete streets if we are going to be doing road and water infrastructure updates, and we start to utilize those resources more creatively The fact that I was at a state conversation and they said that Dubuque has not utilized a state table to leverage resources. I think that we, this time around, have an opportunity to leverage federal dollars up against state dollars towards our infrastructure. Additionally, I think we have so many commissions that can help to support these plans, including transit, resiliency, our arts community, historic preservation, and zoning. So for this, I think we need to start thinking creatively, bringing people to the conversation, and open up our conversation like we did for the American Rescue Plan dollars and how we want to spend them in our community. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
It is a challenge to have the oldest city in Iowa, one of the oldest cities west of the Mississippi, and to keep things working. Some of the stuff is pretty old. First priority clearly would have to be getting rid of all the lead water services in the city. And that's pretty much specifically spelled out in the federal bill. Now, we address that right now with a chemical additive that causes a coating on the inside of the pipes that keeps the lead from leaching into the water. And it's tested very frequently at a number of locations around town. But the testing is expensive, the chemical's expensive, and it's not a long-term solution. It's a stopgap. We're in pretty good shape for city-owned bridges, although there are a few that need some attention. We're way behind in fire stations on routine maintenance, and clearly we need another one. I think the whole community agrees on that. The challenge right now is exactly where to put it. We're going to be working on that next year. Roads and streets, obviously. Our water plant that generates and purifies water is a very old facility. It's probably going to need some modernization pretty soon. And we've got a lurking concern in our wastewater management called nutrient reduction. Getting some of the chemicals of fertilizer, some of the nitrates and phosphates out of the water. Now, right now, we return water to the Mississippi that's cleaner than the water flowing by at a wastewater plant. But we're still not getting all of those things out of the wastewater.
Thank you. Ms. Farber.
Yes, thank you very much. Regarding the infrastructure plan and potential funding, I agree that there are two main areas. One is land use, and the other would be shovel-ready projects for road, water, and the complete streets. And I'm also looking forward to financial assistance for the electric vehicle fleet and also for the charging stations. But I also think there's two time is of the essence areas that we need to look into. One is our infrastructure, broadband, and cybersecurity needs. And then second would be, as Mr. Jones alluded to, for the fire department and also for the police department, expanding the tools and resources that we currently offer them in order to increase our public safety. I'm very concerned about the safety, if you will, of the citizen financial records of the city operations, and if we ever had a ransomware attack, we would have some problems. And I look forward to helping, hopefully, with this infrastructure funding to develop backup systems, redundancy systems for this with very, very flexible and state-of-the-art architecture for that cybersecurity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carner.
Thank you. I would like to see the green alleys completed, because quite a few people I've talked to down there, the improvements they've done on the sewers so far, it's a good step, but we still get water in our basements. Not everybody, but there's still a lot of water going in the basements. And I would like to see the north end storm sewer implements done, because there's a lot of folks down on the 25th and 30th streets that, you know, they do have a lot of water going in their basements too when we get them big rains. I would like to see Blooms finished, because I feel that with all that contaminated land there, I think that needs to be cleaned up. And if you have the B branch right there, that could possibly be leaking into our water system, and that should be cleaned up and taken care of. I think that should be one of the priorities of the infrastructure thing, is to make sure we have the clean water and it's not being contaminated from the Blooms. I would like to see Comiskey finished. I feel that's kind of an issue down there. I'd like to see, you know, maybe some security put down there, like some emergency poles and maybe some more cameras. I'd like to see there's a building on the corner of Romberg there that the city owns. I'd like to see them do something with that, maybe turn that into something nice for the B branch. And, you know, and that's pretty much what I would like to see done.
Mr. Sprank.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is kind of like a dream if this bill passes. There's so much we could all do. My personal list would be definitely getting 16th Street revitalized and kind of re-kicked in, which kind of ties into the Bloomberg site. Reinvest more in Kerper with this funds, where we're able to possibly buy buildings that maybe just need to get rebuilt and torn down. We could definitely use it to completely redesign the look of Central, where we revitalize and invest in those historic houses and homes and buildings. A big push that I'd love to see is fiber in the North End. We have the worst internet in the entire city, and it's going to take nearly 7 years before we actually get decent fiber that everywhere else has. I would love to see that pushed faster with this funding. Our water plant is antiquated. It is old. It is a good workhorse, but like any good workhorse, it needs to be retired and rebuilt, and that will take millions of dollars. I'd like to definitely see the continuation of our Green Alley program. We've been trying to get federal funds for that, so that way we're not hopefully passing as much cost onto our citizens. This would include Kaufman Avenue, continuing going up that way, and as well as hopefully this bill allows us to invest in our parks. I'm not exactly sure if it does, but it might. I'm hoping. So looking forward to it if it happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we're running a little late, of course, as we do when we get these good questions. So apologies to our listeners, but I'm sure they're learning a lot, won't mind. But it's time now for our 2-minute closing remarks. And we will start at that end and start with Mr. Sprank.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And once again, thank you to the League for doing this. This has been a very interesting and educational evening, and I hope our citizens got something out of this. But as I kind of would like to remind folks why I'm rerunning is it's my vision for the North End. It's time that we invest in it. It's been put aside for too long. The B Branch has been a great start and a great investment. I didn't grow up. When I purchased my house, it was the start of that whole project with the B Branch. And it was great to see for 12 years that project going on. We're soon going to have a ribbon cutting, amazingly. And I never thought that I would see it. So I'm really excited for that. But there's more work that needs to be done in the North End. As I mentioned before, I want to see the revitalization of Central and the reinvestment in Kerper, Chaplain Schmidt Island. We want to save Miller River. Amazingly, that park was used to its maximum capacity, and citizens were so happy for that. I want to continue to help our neighbors up at Alpine Park. They've got a storm coming at them from their new management. That's once it hits them, we're going to need a lot of help from our folks at the state level and possibly our federal level, because there's a lot of laws that are going to need some attention there. One of our great things that I got to sit through was we got to finally discuss revitalizing our parks and reinvesting in our parks, and that was kind of pushed on at our last budget session. So I'm really happy that we'll have this big master parks plan where we're going to look at all of our parks. As well as I definitely want to see the start and finish of Comiskey. It's right across from my house. This project has been near and dear to me, and I'm kind of been overly frustrated with our city manager about the lack of it. And I understand COVID has really ruined a lot of our plans. And so that's kind of why I'm running again. I'm asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carner.
Yes. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for this opportunity. And if I was elected, I would not take this opportunity for granted. You know, I'm a man of my word, and, you know, the word's all I have is because that's what you had back in the day when you didn't have much to go on. I'd like to see the parks finished, like Comiskey, and I'd like to see Eagle Point be, some more funding be invested up there, because that's always been like the jewel of Dubuque. It's supposed to be the masterpiece on the river, so Eagle Point should be the masterpiece on the river, because that's a big tourist spot. And I would like to see, you know, some more programs downtown for the kids down in the Third Ward. I'm not singling out just the Third Ward because, you know, well, actually I kind of am, because that's where I live. And I feel there's not a lot of programs down there for them individuals. And I feel if we can get some more programs down there for some of these individuals, I think it would help curb a lot of this nonsense going on. I feel if you get them on the right path, get their brains engaged in certain activities, I think it could help with a lot of things and help that kid go far in this town. And I feel with hard work and dedication, they can. And I'm an example of hard work and dedication. I work hard every day, and Third Ward is my home, and I feel that other people can be proud of that home too. And I would like to see, like 16th Street finished. I would like to see Blooms done. I would like to see Comiskey done. I would like to see the green alleys done. I would like to see all kinds of infrastructure done, and I will push for that stuff to get done, and I will not vote a 7-0 just because that's what everybody wants. I feel that I will try to get more input on the voters of the city so they have more of a say-so of what goes on. And, and thank you again for this opportunity, and it really means a lot to me. And my friends and family, I'd like to thank them for giving me this chance to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Farber.
Yes, thank you very much. And let me summarize why the Ward 1 neighbors have encouraged me to run for re-election. And the majority of them are just so pleased that I can represent small business here at the council table and have not only a small business background, but also a corporate experience where I can bring the leadership and the decision-making skills to the table. Being born and raised in Dubuque, my family has been here for several decades, and because of that, I also bring decade-long relationships with not only Ward 1 neighbors, but also throughout the business community. I'm very fortunate to serve on several boards, which also gives me some key insights into current thinking from both the profit and nonprofit communities here in Dubuque. And so as we have these conversations, and I'm out quite a bit meeting and greeting, and as a matter of fact, the favorite part of the job for me is going and making house calls and talking to my neighbors about their concerns, and then seeing how quickly we can assess the problem and try to problem solve for them. So I am just very honored to be here tonight, and I'm very much looking forward to the support, the ongoing support for my reelection on November 2nd. And I thank the members and the neighbors of Ward 1 for that support. And I also want to thank the League of Women Voters here tonight for this very vibrant and fun conversation about these significant issues for the Dubuquers. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Well, it's been an exciting 16 years that I've been on the council, and that followed a 31-year career at the fire department in both street and command roles. What I learned there was that people are calling on you to lead all the time, 10, 12, 14 times a day, to come and help them solve the biggest problems that life could possibly throw at them, and to do it pretty damn quick as well. And made that a habit of approaching emergency medical calls as problems to be solved. So I've been problem solving for the city of Dubuque my entire adult life, pretty much. My campaign is about maintaining a safe community, but that doesn't just mean cops and firemen. It certainly means that, but also means special attention to the social issues that cause crime and cause discord in the community, like poverty reduction and equity and justice across the board. We're still recovering. We're beginning to recover from COVID. And to recover from COVID, we've got to protect the community's public health, the financial health of the community, and the brain health of the community. But the nice byproduct of a year and a half of trying to have council meetings with COVID is it made us better. Because of COVID, the worldwide microchip shortage, equipment is coming pretty slowly. We've agreed to purchase equipment for this room that'll make it truly interactive. So we'll not just bring council meetings into your living room where you can watch it on TV, we'll bring it into your living room where you can participate in a public hearing and participate in public input sessions with the council as well. And we learned that by sitting at home with short pants on and a necktie, looking into a computer screen and trying to run a city. Clearly, we need viable infrastructure to build our future on, assuring resilience and growth as well as employment. We need to remain sustainable to create a resilient city that's equitable, financially secure, and environmentally smart. If you're having any trouble believing the things that I say, look around the city. A lot has changed in 16 years. I'm proud of all of it.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We went out of alphabetical order and back and forth
back
again.
and
It's
forth
all
on this.
good. First off, thank you very much to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to speak today. We, the community, move forward when us and our neighbors fully understand the decision-making process. It's not just about me, my career, volunteer, and employment. And this demonstrates that others are involved and empowered to move our community forward. When I collaborate with neighbors, I always bring voices, some of which are different than my perspective, to the decision-making table. Bringing diverse voices, and ones that always don't agree with me, has really truly helped me bring a track record to what I can do and what I'm capable of doing. I really believe that when we bring all voices to the boards, commissions, and other councils that are appointed by the council, that we can move our city forward. And I have a track record in food, neighborhoods, and accessibility by bringing proactive voices and empowering others, because I'm one person and I'm a single mother along the way. I think it's important that we talked earlier today about our county and city being collaborators. I am doing this right now. I work with both the city and the county and bring their voices together on different perspectives and projects. And so I think that's a great way for us to start empowering our neighbors to also follow suit and bridging this gap. So I think there's some really cool things that I'm doing, including the low to moderate income solar project, which was discussed before, called Renew Dubuque. I'm implementing that. I'm finding grants and I'm finding ways for our neighbors to be positively changed in their, number one, budget, but also our green accessibility in our community. So together, we can move forward Dubuque, and these professional experiences make me an ideal candidate to represent the city. I look forward to continuing to discuss these ideas facing Dubuquers. Now is the time to vote on November 2nd, not just for City Council, but you'll also see Land and Legacy and School Board on that.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Resnick.
Thank you, and thank you again to the League of Women Voters. Voting is the voice of democracy. We all win when all voices are heard, so thank you very much. Tonight, you heard two candidates for mayor with very important differences. Now it's time to decide which one is better for Dubuque. So ask yourself this: which candidate has the most experience and commitment needed to build on our success? Which candidate has a proven track record of fiscal responsibility and independent thinking? Which candidate has been a leader not only in his professional life, but in getting things done for the community? The Bee Branch Waterway, the Millwork District, the Southwest Arterial, so many more. Which candidate insists on lower tax rates and debt reduction and safer streets? This is a very important time in our city, and as your mayor, I am committed to relentless improvement on your behalf. What got me into City Council 16 years ago is still my favorite thing. Actually, 14 years ago, I'm counting too. My math isn't good. 14 years ago, my favorite thing is still to help individual citizens in working with the city government. That was always a problem for me as a citizen, and I said, I'm going to help individual citizens interact and find answers to their questions, and things have gotten so much better. To be a great leader, you must be a great listener. I have listened and learned from all 6,000 of you who contributed to the Imagine Dubuque plan. This is your city, your ideas. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 2nd.
Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh.
All right, thank you. And thank you to the League of Women Voters, and thanks to everybody for a great discussion tonight. It's exciting. 3 weeks away from tomorrow, we can all go to the polls. Everybody in the city gets an opportunity to exercise the most important thing that they can in a democracy. And I've already talked about my ability to reach out and listen to people in Dubuque and hear their thoughts and ideas and questions. I've already talked about my experience. I've already demonstrated, I think, my ability to lead on this council and in this community at large. What I want to talk about now is the vision that we have for the city. And I want everyone to think about what that vision is for you personally. Think about what it is for the next 20, 30 years that you want to see. And I want to tell you a little bit about what I see. I see an opportunity for us to be the best. I mentioned at the last forum that I'm not a big fan of status quo, and that what I'm really shooting for is to be the best. I want to be the best place to raise a family, the best place to work, the best place to live our lives in any way we see fit. And I see that for every single person who chooses to call Dubuque home. The only thing about this is we can only do this together. And I think we need a mayor who's ready to be able to unite people, to be able to see that vision together and realize that vision together. And I'm ready to do that. And it's a time when uniting is very difficult, and it takes a great deal of courage and a great deal of effort. And I think that it's something that we need to make sure that we are electing in our elected leaders. So with that said, I certainly hope that I've earned your support, and I hope that I've earned your vote on Tuesday, November 2nd, 3 weeks from tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. And the Dubuque League of Women Voters certainly does thank the candidates for their participation and City Cable Channel for providing our community with this opportunity. This forum may be seen again on City Channel Dubuque, on Cable Channel 8, or Digital 117.2. It is being streamed live on the City Facebook page and website. And of course, the League thanks the voters for watching and for providing us with the questions. Election Day is Tuesday, November 2nd, and in addition to City Council positions, you'll also be voting for Dubuque Community School Board candidates and on the land and water bond issue. The League of Women Voters Forum for School Board candidates will be on Wednesday, October 20th at 6:30 p.m. and may be viewed on the Dubuque Community School District's Facebook and website. Thank you and good night.